Land use has always been contested from the beginnings of almost human civilization. People have battled over who owns it, who uses it, who exploits it, how it's managed. And it's no different now than it was 1,000 years ago. The difference, to the extent there is a difference, is that we're now a very small, crowded island with another 10 million to add to our population. So one of the most potentially densely populated areas of the world, and the precious bits of land are therefore with multiple uses and multiple people who want to use them. Some of this land is public land in the sense of being a public good, and some of it is private agricultural land, and sorting out which bits of land have which sorts of functions is part and parcel of organising any sensible economy. So how should we think about land and its use? Well, lots of people have talked about ecosystem services, about cost-benefit analysis and so on, but the truth is we should focus on land as natural capital. It's a set of assets that nature gives us for free, and these assets will go on yielding us benefits for as long as we don't so abuse the land that it's no longer capable of continuing to deliver those outputs. And of course there are many examples of common land which has been debased and overgrazed, famous tragedy of the common, but there are also lots of solutions to these problems. So if we think about it as natural capital, as assets, it drives us to thinking about balance sheets, assets and liabilities, and above all else it drives us towards thinking about capital maintenance, spending the necessary monies to make sure that we maintain at least the value of this natural capital intact. And of course that's exactly what we haven't been doing. Soils have been deteriorating, agricultural intensification has done great damage to some of our land, and many of our commons are in a state which I think it would be mild to say are non-optimal. So we need to do that capital maintenance, we need to look after that natural capital, and we now have a policy framework in which how to do that can be at least addressed. Whether the government carries through is another matter. So in 2011 the government had a white paper, The Natural Choice, in which it promised that it would be the first generation to leave the natural environment and its natural capital in a better state than it found it. That was then transcribed into all three manifestos of the last election, Conservatives, Labour and Liberal Democrats, in the form of a commitment to a 25-year plan to make good on that promise. And that 25-year plan is being formulated now. There are pioneers, a river catchment in the Cumbria, a city in Manchester, a landscape restoration project in North Devon, and marine projects as well. So it's already running through. A framework document from the government is the starting point of that. Next year is the full 25-year plan. And what those interested groups, those people who care about land use, have to do is take the natural capital they've got, establish the asset register for it, establish its state, identify the capital maintenance required, and come forward with the enhancements and the benefits that flow from them. That's the challenge. The prize is enormous, actually meeting that commitment to leave the natural capital in a better state. But what needs to be done to get from here to there is also enormous. It's a great challenge, and that's for people like you to bring forward your local plans to deliver those outcomes. If you succeed, great. If you don't, this is probably the last chance to do the job properly. So I wish you well. Thank you very much.